Welcome to the annual meeting. On behalf of CAS Student Activities, it is a distinct pleasure. In fact, it's really an honor that we start our meeting with a very special, unique guest. The Connecticut Kid Governor is about to address this austere body. And so it's my distinct honor and pleasure to introduce Miss ELENA TIPTON, a fifth grader from O'Connell School in East Hartford, to share her thoughts. How about a nice welcome?
Okay. Hello, my name is ELENA, and I'm from O'Connell Elementary in East Hartford, and I'm also Connecticut's first kid governor. And I would like to thank you for giving me the chance to talk about the whole reason I'm here, which is kindness. So thank you so much. So yeah. Okay. As kid governor, I have 3 points in my platform that I want to hit. So first, I want the 13th of every month to be Kindness Day. So at like your work or school, I want you to get your students or coworkers super excited to be kind on the 13th. And you could find suggestions for Kindness Day on my blog at ct.kidgovernor.org. And I also want to hear from you about how you and your students are being kind. So email me and about what you're doing, and you might have a shout out in my next blog post. And I need your help to spread the word about the 13th of every month. Okay, on to my second goal. I want at least 10 schools to have this thing called a buddy bench. And what is a buddy bench, you might ask? I will tell you what it is. Okay, the buddy bench is a bench that is outside at recess, and it literally says buddy bench on it. And when somebody doesn't have anybody to play with, they could go sit on it, and another student goes and says, hey, why don't you come play with me? And by asking that simple question, it can make somebody's day turn completely around. But your school might not have the money for it, so you could take one of your old benches and put a picture of 2 buddies playing on it, and you have a buddy bench. Okay. But this whole idea of the buddy bench was not my idea. It was by an amazing superstar kid named Christian Bucks, who created the buddy bench with the help of his principal. And the last goal I have is to hear what the amazing kids of Connecticut want to do. So when you get back to your schools, talk to your students about what they want to do to be kind, and email me about the amazing things they are doing through the Connecticut Kid Governor website. And you are probably thinking, how am I going to reach my goals as kid governor? Well, I'm going to do this with the help of all of you. And the whole reason I did this because I want our communities to come together and make the amazing state of Connecticut an even more amazing place. I want the other states to be jealous of how kind and amazing we are, and I need your help to do that. So do not forget about my 3 goals, and thank you for your time, and be kind.
Thank you, ELENA, for such compelling remarks. And now for some additional remarks, let's welcome from the State House the coordinator of the Kid Governor program, Brian COFRANCESCO.
Good afternoon, and thanks to Dave and to everyone for allowing us to come and have ELENA speak and open your meeting today. My name is Brian COFRANCESCO, and I'm the head of education at Connecticut's Old State House, and we're very proud to be the creators of the Connecticut's Kid Governor program. We started this last year really as a way to marry our multifaceted mission at the Old State House, which is both teaching civics and using history to teach civics, but also inspiring civic engagement. And I'm sure those of you who've taught in a classroom, maybe history or civics, know that civics is not the most exciting topic. So we tried to think of a way to do it in an innovative program, and we came up with the idea of having the first statewide election of 5th graders and by 5th graders for the first kid governor. So we were very excited. We rolled this program out in the fall. We had over 800 kids participate in the statewide election, and we were in 17 different cities over the course of just a few months. If you visit our website, ct.kidgovernor.org, you can watch the 7 videos of all 7 candidates who ran for office, who all had very interesting and compelling platforms, and it really shows what students can do to make a difference and learn how to be active participants in our society. So it was such a success this year that we're doing it again and making this an annual program. So we would love for any elementary school principals or teachers who are here to get in touch with us. It's open to all 5th grade classes in Connecticut, whether they want to nominate a candidate from their school or simply vote in the election. It kicks off with resources being released this month, and it'll officially start in September. So it's free to participate, and we'd love for you to do so. So I've brought a bunch of flyers, brochures, and business cards for myself and for Elena, if you want to get in touch with her, and I've left them with Dave up here. So if you have any interest or would like some more information, I'd be happy to talk to you by email, phone, or in person. And again, thank you for letting us share Elena and her platform with you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you've partaken a little bit of some of the delicious refreshments and drinks, and if not, feel free while I'm speaking to get up and move about and fill those plates again. Good afternoon, and thank you all for joining us today. My name is Donna SCHILKE, and I'm the principal of Smith Middle School in Glastonbury and the president of the Connecticut Association of Schools for 2 more weeks, maybe? Another couple hours, I'm not sure, but as you know, this is a relatively new event for us. New in that historically, before last year, we've always held morning meetings at the end of the year, and they've been very good but rather tedious, and we had a lot of business to get through. But with the onslaught of new technology, we no longer have to hold that morning meeting. We're able to do the business electronically. But we really wanted to hold this event today, and it's for a different purpose. We wanted to bring the membership together for sure, but mostly we wanted to thank each and every one of you, because it's your contributions and your dedication to this association that have helped CAS grow, and also all the work that you do in your very challenging position as educational leaders. In the midst of declining resources, increasing accountability, and expanded responsibilities heaped on you already overburdened shoulders, you continue to bring innovation, inspiration, and distinction to your work of educating our children, and there is nothing in this world more important than that. So we wanted to congratulate you today and thank each of you for being here. About a year ago, I stood here and spoke about challenge and change, and at the end of the year last year, those were probably the most important words. I talked about the perfect storm of SBAC and Common Core and teacher evaluation, and here we are a year later. We've survived the storm, only to face new challenges of declining budgets, loss of teaching positions in our schools, and again, most issues that are beyond our control. And as I reflected on what I was going to say today at the end of the year, the one issue that I know we can count on in education is change. Just when you think you're getting comfortable, or you have a nice quiet day, something happens, either within the walls of your building, or as a mandate, or as something new within your community. Change. Well, change as growth. That's very good, and something we truly need for us to move forward. And then we also face change every day that's very difficult to accept and difficult to maneuver, but change either way. I know that as school leaders, educational leaders, we need always to present change to our staff as a positive thing, and we need to show them the importance of working through change together and in concert with others, and that we as leaders need to make our voices heard, and perhaps these last few years more than ever. And I thought a little more, and it became crystal clear for me that of all the changes, in the midst of all of them, there's been one constant for me throughout the many years I've had in administration, and the one constant's been CAS. CAS never wavered in its offer of support for us. CAS has kept me personally informed and has given me clarity, and boy did I need clarity, on the many issues that we deal with and are still facing today. They're overwhelming. CAS has given me mentorship, the mentorship of colleagues, people I can trust to ask questions of, to run things by, and just to talk through after a challenging day. CAS has taught me about leadership, more than anything about leadership. what it takes to be a strong and fair leader, what it means to work collaboratively in a group, and how to make really tough decisions and have those very, very difficult conversations that we all have. CAS has offered me a means of networking. Through CAS, I have been given statewide contacts and colleagues from cities to the most rural areas with a variety of perspectives that have been good for me to hear and are all really good to learn about. And CAS has given me a forum to share my stories, to listen and learn from others, a place that gives all of us a voice at that bigger table around the state. And perhaps most importantly, I look around here, CAS has given me friendships, people who are important in my life, who have added something to my journey in education, and whom I really deeply admire and respect. It's been a wonderful group to grow with, to learn from, to share with, and I hope each of you feels the same way, whether you're just becoming involved now, that you will someday get to this point, or that you already feel that way as a longtime member of this organization. We cannot possibly do our work in a vacuum. It takes a village to raise a strong educational leader, just as it does our children. We need the resources that we can gain from CAS and from one another through CAS, and that will make our journey a positive one, filled with hope for each and every day, one with inspiration that we can pass on to our teachers and colleagues, and help keep the passion and the love for education and leadership alive. So I hope you will take part and become involved, if you're not, more involved, and thank you for being here today. And I'd now like to I'm very pleased to invite the Executive Director, Carissa Niehoff, here. Carissa will talk to you about the year in review and a little bit about where CAS is headed.
Thank you. Wonderful. I don't know about you, Donna, but wasn't it tough to follow Elena? I have her card.
She recycles benches.
She's an unbelievable young woman.
Yes.
So again, as Donna said, feel free to get up and grab another refreshment. I get a few minutes to talk, so you may want to refill your glasses. I don't know now, but so welcome, congratulations to our honorees, and thank you from all of us at CAS. We exist to provide resources and support for educational leaders. But in truth, we can't be an association of relevance and meaning without you, the people doing the work and informing the work. You bring the real present life in schools to us. You bring us your voice, and it's our job to bring your voice to folks in Hartford and other places, to share your situations, and to ask for help that we may be able to channel through to you. We certainly know what it means for you to commit to being on a board or a committee. Sometimes you don't even know why or what position you're in or what you're doing, but CAS called and said, would you? And you say yes. And we also know it takes a lot to be able to follow through in that time commitment on any given day in any given school year. Anything can happen. Every day that you walk through these doors to attend one of our functions, we're just so very appreciative of the situation you've left behind or left suspended in order to share your time and energies with us. So in my report today, I'd love to share specific highlights and challenges for both the association and for education in general. But first, I'd like us to consider things from a broader perspective. When we spend so much time in the present moment, we can sometimes be more susceptible to immediate pressures, and we might call it the triage of our jobs. When we take a step back, we can regain perspective and recognize that even in the midst of triage and stress, we can recognize opportunities a little more clearly. We can, by stepping back, take a moment and place it onto a timeline of a movement. As we all know, there's been so much energy, anxiety, and really good work around the concept of transforming schools so that they prepare our children for success in the 21st century. And this might be the 21st year that we've been talking about that list of 21st century skills, as if you can nail down what our kids need to know and be able to do to a finite list. But we know that there are proven best situations, practices, and approaches. Mastery-based personalized learning, rigorous and relevant curriculum, multiple measures of assessment documenting growth over time, flexible learning environments for anytime, anywhere learning, being able to redefine educator roles, and professional development. developing meaningful relationships between and among educators and students and families, home and community involvement, and of course, learning environments that are welcoming, caring, and safe. So when you go down that list, all of these things that are first and foremost in our minds, aren't those the things that we've always believed in as educators? Why are they new? Why are they now suddenly gaining momentum? I suppose we can feel rightfully frustrated that it took a crisis in the court of public opinion to raise the awareness that schools need varying degrees of redesign, and that the culture of crisis resulted in massive policy changes, many of which, and you all remember 2012, have been unrealistic and extremely burdensome. But now, as I think the pendulum has started to shift back to center, as Donna said, we've weathered the storm beautifully. We are now as a society engaged in more serious conversations, not just about how schools need to be transformed, but also about how they need to be supported through meaningful policy changes, provision of resources, and encouragement to be innovative. Good things are emerging out of the turbulence. We know that Connecticut's ESEA waiver was approved more than a year ago, which is now bringing more focus on growth over time, not just the original accountability on state test scores, but looking at multiple measures of assessment. Another 50% looking at other growth measures in the area of exposure to the arts, physical fitness, and things like that, which really are reflective of a more comprehensive educational experience for kids. Now that we have ESSA, it's brought governance and leadership and decision-making more back to state level. We'll see what the implementation looks like. We're watching very carefully what that plan is going to ask us to do. But we have great trust in our commissioner and her small but mighty team in Hartford as they guide us through this. Schools at all levels and community organizations and businesses are embracing partnerships. These are huge steps in support of learning opportunities, student-centered, mastery-based, and career-oriented approaches as we educate kids. And we're looking at supports for students and families from a community perspective, recognizing that associations and organizations need to not be so siloed. We need to work together. How many state agencies do we have, all addressing mental health needs, early childhood? We need to be better aligned and more efficient with the use of our resources and expertise. So again, the concepts are not new, but their importance now is glaring. And I would find it hard to believe that the importance would diminish in the future. So thinking about how long we've known about these important things, I'd like to share some insights from influential thinkers outside of education that really underscore the work we're doing. You may have heard of the very great thinker and author Will Durant. Maybe some of you in the social studies or humanities area, or Pat, you probably can recite his work, I'm going to guess. You probably know. So he lived until 1981. He was awarded the Pulitzer Prize in 1968 and the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1977. He spent more than 50 years writing an 11-volume series, The Story of Civilization. Little light beach reading, but it was apparently a very good 11-volume series. He was a champion of human rights issues, and his writing still educates and entertains readers around the world. So in 2014, 32 years after he died, in one of his granddaughter's trunks, they found one of his last works. And it's called Fallen Leaves, Last Works on Life, Love, War, and God. And in this book, which was written really, started writing post-World War II, there's a section entitled On Education. And again, imagine now post-World War II, industrial era. And he writes this: "We need more knowledge and must submit to a heavy stress upon science in education and government. For we are subject to international challenges that force us to keep pace with every technological advance. But we need something more than knowledge. We need the wisdom and character to use our knowledge with foresight and caution, with both resolution and restraint. Today, our educators who once bravely led the way toward the scientific and technical emphasis in America's schools are disturbed by the completeness of their victory, and they stand in sorrow before their accomplished dream. They do not quite regret their efforts or retract their aims. They know a modern nation must choose between industry and vassalage to meet the competition of an industrializing world. These things are not matters of choice, for nations do not live in a vacuum of freedom or peace. But our conscious educators perceive that, after generations of scholastic effort, they are failing to produce either educated men or gentlemen. That the lavish equipment of our schools has not availed to diminish political corruption, sexual irregularity, or violent crime. That certain virtues once prominent in our forebears seem to have lost standing with a generation skilled beyond precedent in unmoral cleverness, and that the emphasis on science has brought no peace to the soul. These conditions are due rather to economic changes than to pedagogical carelessness. But the educator begins to wonder whether the schools have not surrendered too completely to the charms of the intellect and offered too mild a resistance to the forces of disorder and decay. Post-World War II, and I hear relevance in that even today. So think about what he called the charms of the intellect, and consider intellect versus intelligence, which, by the way, Socrates thought was the only virtue, and that we must make sure to distinguish intelligence from intellect. I think this is part of the terrific paradigm shift that education is participating even now. We need to make sure we distinguish intellect, which is the capacity for acquiring and accumulating knowledge, from intelligence, remember Howard Gardner, which is the ability to use experience, even the experience of others, for the clarification of ideas and information, and ultimately the attainment of our goals. A person with great intellect may have a million ideas, but be a criminal or a fool, brilliantly unsuccessful. But we would hardly find an intelligent person to be either character or be unsuccessful. One more thing from Durant, which I thought was fascinating. He writes on all sorts of topics, but he says this: to balance the commercialism and partiality of private broadcasting systems and news media, I would recommend the establishment of a U.S. broadcasting company financed by the government but controlled by our universities. Wouldn't that be something? So as our efforts intensify to transform education and develop 21st century skills and redesign our schools, we obviously have to continually sharpen our focus on the lens of the future. Well, what does the future hold for our kids? So let's look at the futurist Thomas Frey. He's one of my favorite guys to read. This guy's brilliant. Futurist Thomas Frey is from the Da Vinci Institute. He works with the Board of Visionaries, whatever that is. He's in the top 0.1% of intellectuals in the world. I don't know who the people are that label these folks or identify who they are. They must be the top 0.09 or something, I don't know. He didn't make that, he's top 0.1. Leading futurist. So he's writing this article. He says, one day he's waiting in line at the airport. He does some mental calculations about what he calls massive waste of human capital. And he figured while he's waiting in security's line, 10 million man-hours per year are wasted on multiple customs line at this one airport alone. And then he goes to say, our systems are what control the flow of commerce, they govern our effectiveness, and they govern us as members of society, creating much of the stress we face on a daily basis, our own self-developed systems. He says we're operating as a society somewhere between 5 to 10% efficiency, and our systems need to change. We talk about systemic change. So what are some of the systems that are restricting our efficiency? The income tax system, the mother of all boat anchors. I don't know if you knew this, but the US tax code is 64,000 pages long. We have a half-implemented metric system. This is simple, but we buy cars with 3.2-liter engines and fill them with quarts of oil. Keyboards. The most frequently used keys are placed randomly across the keyboard. And then laws. Within each city, county, state, federal agency, taxing district, we're able to issue our own regs, our own mandates. We don't even know how many laws are on the books in this country. And they actually undermine each other. So the educational system, he says, also has its efficiency flaws. One of his complaints about higher ed, because he has no complaints about pre-K-12, higher ed tends to prepare kids for jobs of the past. He says higher ed is shooting behind the duck. He said we need to change the educational system. Consider the exponential growth of global information, our total technological capacity. And Rosie and Bob tell me if I'm off here. So researchers calculate humankind is able to store at least 295 exabytes of information. I'll tell you what that is in a few moments. But basically, an exabyte is a number followed by 20 zeros. That's 350 times the number of grains of sand in the world. But ironically, it's still less than 1% of the information stored in all the DNA molecules of one human being. Somebody named Buckminster Fuller, sounds like a smart guy, created the knowledge doubling curve. He noticed that until 1900, human knowledge capacity doubled every century. By the end of World War II, our knowledge was doubling every 25 years. Today, things are not as simple as we have different types of knowledge growth, but nanotechnology knowledge is doubling every 2 years, clinical knowledge every 18 months, and now, according to IBM, the Internet of Things will cause us to have our knowledge base doubling every 12 hours. So how big is this size? I said I'd get to what an exabyte was. So if you took a megabyte of information, which is basically as much as a big novel, a book, we sell books. We all have a stack of them by our bed that we never get to read, right? So this megabyte of information, if you give it like an object equivalent, let's say it's a tiny little ant. You times a megabyte by 1,000, you get a gigabyte. That the model of a gigabyte is about the height of a short person. Times that by 1,000. That's a terabyte. And that's about the equivalent of the annual world literature production. And that would be the size of a good-sized bridge over a harbor. Multiply that by 1,000. And that's called a petabyte. Is that right? That's 10 to the 15th power. And that's the equivalent of all US research libraries, which is about the size of New Zealand in terms of massive knowledge. I'm not following myself here. I'm channeling now what I wrote on the paper. So you multiply a petabyte by 1,000, that's an exabyte. And that's equivalent to 2/3 of the annual production of information in the world. Size-wise, that's the diameter of the sun. So a megabyte of information, which is a little ant, goes to an exabyte, which is as big as the sun. And what did I say earlier about exabytes? Something about humankind is able to store at least 295 exabytes of information. That's a lot of stuff we think we know, right? That's huge knowledge. Here's something I did follow. As of January 2013, Facebook users had uploaded over 20 billion photos, 350 million new photos every day, and for each uploaded photo, Facebook generates and stores 4 images of different sizes, which translates to a total of 960 billion images, and that's 357 petabytes of storage on Facebook. And it's all accurate knowledge. And very helpful to administrators in schools, right? Extremely helpful information. So here's something else that's amazing. The human brain is estimated to be able to store, not use, or access, memories equivalent to 2.5 petabytes of data. And again, you can't just find those things. They're in there, but you can't always find them. So, and according to Thomas Frey, the futurist, our global knowledge base doubles every single day. So we blame technology for eliminating jobs, but we need to have a paradigm shift and look at how it's actually creating amazing opportunities for us. Remember the hours of wasted time in the airport he talked about? He says by the end of the decade, 90% of those jobs will be automated out of existence. By 2030, over 2 billion jobs will disappear. 60% of the jobs that will exist 10 years from now, okay, here's our kids in schools, 60% of those jobs haven't even been invented yet. 14 hot new skills for our kids. I didn't even know what these things were. Transitionists, expansionists, maximizers, optimizers, inflectionists, dismantlers. That's about breaking things down that are obsolete. Feedback loopers. And that's not just gossip. This is you know, the best feedback loops. Backlashers. Now we're giving every kid a role to play. Every new technology will have its detractors. We need people who can respond professionally to backlashers. Number 9, last milers. This is not CIAC. Technologies commonly reach a point of diminishing returns as they attempt to extend their full capacity to the end users, getting the very, very most out of what it is you're doing. Number 10, contextualists, ethicists. Number 12, philosophers. With companies in a constant battle over my brain is bigger than your brain, it becomes the overarching philosophy that will win the day. Number 13 is theorists, and number 14 is legacists, those who are passionate and skilled with leaving a legacy. His jobs of the future: personal rapid transit systems, atmospheric water harvesters, global systems, future sports, commercial drone industry, 3D printing, big data processes, augmented reality, alternative financial systems, energy storage, futuristic construction, driverless everything, future agriculture, micro-colleges, senior living, dismantling systems, extreme innovation, which would include extinct revivalists and limb manufacturing. So whether we choose to believe all of his predictions is not so important perhaps as just being able to reframe our thinking about what schools need to be doing to prepare our kids. So that was the stepping back and around what we do. If you'll indulge me a few more moments, let's look at Connecticut and CAS-CIAC. Some of our highlights and our hopes for going forward. Efforts to reach all member schools. We do a good job on some of our major corridors, 84, 91, 95, but we need to get to our corners. We need to get into our urban centers. We need to expand resources and services to be more relevant and more meaningful and responsive. Example, we hired Marie Glowski this year out of the SDE, and she's here. We were thrilled because Marie brought her leadership and experience with ELL and special education. So she's bringing that to our executive coaching with Pat and Sal. And she's established a great connection with Desi Nesmith in the Office of Turnaround Activities at State Department. She's also supported the establishment of the CALAS Group, the Connecticut Association of Latino Administrators and Superintendents. High energy group. We're happy to support. We're growing our work in the areas of equity and social justice. Jen and Dave in student activities have helped to grow leadership development programs for minority youth. We've partnered with White House folks with Obama's initiative, My Brother's Keeper. We've established a relationship with Chris Temple, who produced Salam Neighbor and Living on $1 documentaries. And we're harnessing probably some of you to develop curriculum materials for those internationally acclaimed documentaries and their future work. We did workshops on LGBT issues, workshops about engaging Muslim students and families that have been very well received. We continue our state-level work in evaluation and calibration. Evan and Mike have been all over the state working with our colleagues at the State Department, the Evan Mike Show. It's still on the road going forward around evaluation and calibration. Leadership development overall. Tim running our Principals Leadership Series, Summer Leadership Institute, our expansion of new leaders academies and UCAP, numerous workshops serving the needs of administrators and teachers and teacher leaders in schools. Our state and national level work in early childhood. Regina and the elementary folks and board, and Mike Litke, our federal relations coordinator for NAESP, Rosie and Vicki, all of you doing the work for elementary. We're recognized nationally and at the state level for our most innovative work here in Connecticut. Our Common Core community of practice and middle level leadership with Earl and his folks. CIAC with Steve, Paul Newton as our board chair. We continue to be a national model through our adherence to education-based athletics and activities. Each of our staff members is held in the highest regard nationally for their areas of work. Matt, Joel, Bob, Joe, Stephanie. They all are known nationally. I'm blessed to serve on the National Federation of High Schools Board of Directors and their foundation board and to chair a few of their committees, so Connecticut is well represented at the national level. We continue to be a respected member of coalitions and task forces. Gary Maynard's here from Federation for Administrators, Patrice from CAVE, any other leaders? Well, we have CAPS representation. Any other leaders from our colleague organizations? Don't want to miss you. We travel together probably 3 or 4 days a week. We're looking for sponsorship of a van, but maybe we don't want any labels on the outside right now. But we've worked very well together in our Big Six group, our multiple coalitions, and our efforts paid tremendous gains. You may have followed our efforts on SB 380, the bill that came out that would permanently decouple the use of state assessment data in evaluation. We work well together to arrive at some sort of compromise language, even with teacher unions. The bill died on the floor. We're fine with that, but it was a demonstration of collaboration, that organizations in education can work together. Because if they have a divide and conquer mentality out there, we're in trouble. Going forward, we intend to grow as a center for innovative practice by harnessing talent in the field. All of you, Teachers and Principals of the Year, Milken Award winners, looking at where you all are already doing things, bringing people to you, Learning Lab model. And we're absolutely committed to engaging the schools and leaders we haven't met yet. As we celebrate the retirements of our phenomenal staff members, Earl, Regina, and Sal, we're excited to welcome new staff members who will bring fresh ideas and the energy to carry the great things on. And their names are still a secret, but you will learn soon. They're wonderful. Challenges, of course, we have them. There's certainly no challenges in the area of will, work ethic, or warmth on the part of our staff and all of you. We know that. For all of us, I think our main challenge is going to be fiscal. And we're all waiting for the budget. Thursday, our folks come back together in Hartford. We think they would not be coming back unless they felt they had the votes. We will see. We're looking at a $960 million problem this year and a $1.1 billion problem next year, and even greater the year after that. Right now, the dialogue is cut spending, cut spending, cut spending without raising taxes or fees. But at some point, our state has to talk about revenue. How are we looking at our revenue sources? And in our talk to just Gary and Patrice and I, we were together hours ago having this conversation about how we might influence that conversation. We know that there are all but 7 communities in the state that will be losing anticipated statutory formula grant dollars. All but 7. Massive cuts across agencies and municipalities are going to hurt our schools deeply. Not just this year, but next year, the year after. Within our organization, we're finalizing a budget that offers no salary increases for staff and as much tightening of expenses as possible without compromising quality of programming for all of you. There'll be no increase in dues or fees or anything for schools. Unfortunately, if we do not receive State Department funds, we have to look for how we might otherwise fund some of our best programs. If we can't do that, those programs will be impacted, and we'll do everything we can to keep programs and their respective staff members. You will see a budget from us in June for your electronic vote, and obviously at any point, pick up the phone, stop by, let us know where your concerns might be. As I bring my remarks to a close, I'd like to end with a more upbeat tone. I think it was Saturday Night Live that had that little skit on positive thoughts. I think it was SNL, and it was, very funny in the middle of the night. There is something we can all think about and do that requires no funding, yet is absolutely invaluable and necessary for our work. It matters most to us no matter what role we play: administrator, teacher, student, parent, community member. It's something that's absolutely essential for cultivating a 21st century culture in our schools, and that's trust. Trust in others develops the three things that drive motivation: mastery, purpose, and autonomy. Trust in the process of continual improvement will help us to stay the course through mistakes, learning situations, and tough budgets. Trust in ourselves as leaders will help us to authentically use and live the beliefs we want. We often talk about modeling. Oh, we should model that. Or look what they do, let's model that. But trusting ourselves as leaders goes deeper. Doing all of this will help us to build trust across the system. And we know that with trust, often the first thing threatened in times of change and increased accountability threatens our ability to let go. And how often have we felt that letting go is at the same time, our professional judgment is being challenged, so it's much harder to do. When folks feel threatened, they hang on tightly. We know that great schools depend heavily on cooperative endeavors. That relational trust is the connective tissue that binds individuals together to foster collaboration, encourage innovation, and ultimately advance the educational welfare of students and staff. We need to let go and trust and let that collaboration happen. Transforming our schools requires us to think harder about how to best organize the work of adults and students. And trust is going to be the key to maintaining those relationships that are healthy and strong. I think we also need what Elaine talked about, and that's the platform of kindness. On the 13th every month, and our buddy benches, maybe our adults need buddy benches too. We need a buddy bench outside our office, and we'll sit on the buddy bench instead of the branch. And I'll leave you with just some thoughts that hopefully will make you smile. Something that we've learned from Noah's Ark as we go forward in these very tough, challenging times. 10 lessons from Noah's Ark. Number 1, don't miss the boat. Number 2, remember that we're all in the same boat. Number 3, plan ahead. It wasn't raining when Noah built the ark. Lesson number 4, stay fit. When you're 60 years old, somebody may ask you to do something really big. Lesson number 5, don't listen to critics, just get on with the job that needs to be done. Lesson 6, build your future on high ground. Lesson 7, for safety's sake, travel in pairs. Lesson 8, speed isn't always an advantage. The snails were on board with the cheetahs. Lesson 9, when you're stressed, float a while. And lesson 10, remember the ark was built by amateurs, the Titanic by professionals. So with all that said, thank you for a terrific year, for indulging our remarks. Have a great evening, the rest of the afternoon.
That was wonderful. I don't know about you, but I'd like to take a few of those excerpts back to our last faculty meeting. Thank you, Carissa. Each year we present plaques to those members who are leaving our boards. These individuals have either reached the end of their tenure or are leaving us prematurely due to retirement or a move of position, a promotion. The Distinguished Service Plaque is a small gift, but hopefully meaningful, an acknowledgement of their contributions to the association, contributions for which we are deeply grateful and upon which we are deeply dependent. This year we have 10 outgoing board members whom we'd like to recognize. However, I believe only 4 of them are in the room here today, so I'd like to ask the following members please to come forward. Roxanne Augelli. Paul Cavaliere. Pam Lazaroski. And Debbie Ponte. Colleagues, we would like to thank you all. Is Debbie here? She's here. She's here. Oh, okay. We're going to wait for Deb. Here we go. Colleagues, we'd like to thank you for your continued dedication to this association, despite the increased responsibilities within your districts. You have all been robust voices in shaping the work of your respective boards. You have made a difference in the association and for our members.
Yep, Roxanne. Yes, and you have to stay for a picture. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Donna, would you like to stay in our picture?
Oh, you can take it.
Just like the kids.
Color? I'm here for color. Thank you to all of our outgoing board members. While there's always a sense of kind of loss at the end of every school year, we're buoyed by the opportunity to involve new individuals in our work. I'd like to very quickly acknowledge the individuals who, in the coming year, will be assuming new elected positions on our committees or boards. We have about 20 people, but again, there are only a few in attendance today. A warm welcome to our newest CAS board members, Al Saki from Nathan Hale Middle School. Didn't see Al. Al, hi. I was looking for you. And Michael Litke from Naubrook School. Michael? Miss Stan, please. Our high school board welcomes Tom Moore from Weathersfield High School. And joining the Principal Center Board will be Kent Hurlbut from Buttonball Lane School. And finally, the Connecticut Student Activities Board of Control is pleased to have Dr. Linda Prevost from Hebron Avenue School and Christine Griswold from Stafford High School. Welcome all. It's great to have you aboard. And one final order of business before we begin our award presentations. It's our custom to award life membership in CAS to an administrator upon his or her retirement. There are a number of individuals who will be retiring at the close of this school year, and 3 of them, I think 3, are with us here today. So when I call your name, please come forward and accept your life membership card. Kevin BROUGH, Pam LAZAROSKI, and Candy Perez. And Kevin is the principal of Memorial High School in Middlefield. Pam is from Lewis Mills, and Candy is from Northwestern Middle School in Winston. Congratulations for all of you for reaching this coveted milestone. And when we see you in a year, you're going to look about 10 years younger. I know that the eyes jump right back. In about 2 weeks of retirement, educators' eyes look terrific. You can see color again. Congratulations again. I'd also like to just acknowledge the retired administrators who are in attendance here today and who have come back to visit. We're thrilled to have you. Mike Rafferty, Bob Patoco, and Don Gates. Would you please stand? And now Paul Newton to the podium to present awards. Thank you.
All right, everyone, this is going to be exciting with all of our awards. Good afternoon. As was mentioned, my name is Paul Newton. I'm the chair of the CAS Awards and Recognition Committee, and it is my pleasure to preside over this afternoon's awards ceremony. Before we begin with the presentations, I do want to acknowledge one distinguished individual who is here with us today. If I could I have Dave Pearson please stand and be recognized? There he is. Dave is our 2016 Middle School Principal of the Year. Congratulations, Dave. And he will be formally recognized at a gala fiesta in his honor in the fall. Each year we award letters of commendation and citation to members who have made extraordinary and/or long-term contributions to the association. This year, the CAS Awards and Recognition Committee has selected 4 deserving individuals to receive a letter of commendation. I'll be calling up each recipient one at a time, And the first is the principal of Washington Elementary School in Waterbury, Roxanne Augelli. Would you please come forward? Well, I'll tell you. You first became active in the association in 1995. Since then, the number of responsibilities you have assumed has increased dramatically, and so too has your capacity to manage all of them with efficacy. Currently a member of 7 committees, 2 boards of control, and the CAS Board of Directors, you have demonstrated an astonishingly unselfish commitment to this association and to the administrators our work supports. You are known as a leader who is quiet and resolute, intelligent and decisive, bold and persistent, having spent your entire career working in one of the state's most challenging school districts. You've inspired us with your unrelenting commitment to achieving the seemingly elusive goals of equity and excellence. Your involvement in the association has helped us to better understand and appreciate the unique challenges of urban education and the unique needs of urban educators. In recognition of your outstanding service to the association, we are pleased to present you with this letter of commendation. Congratulations. Okay. Next, Kevin Brough, come forward, please. Kevin is the principal of Memorial Middle School in Middlefield. All right, Kevin, though you became active in the association just 7 years ago, your letter of commitment and to involvement in its work has surpassed that of many longtime volunteers. As if your membership on 5 standing committees and boards were not sufficient service, you assumed several critical and time-consuming ad hoc assignments and directed yourself diligently to their outcomes. In so doing, with no thought of doing so, you have distinguished yourself. In all of your varied roles, you have revealed yourself to be a leader of insight, introspection, and deep moral grounding, whose foremost consideration is always the welfare of the students whose lives and learning we strive to improve. Your low-key, self-effacing manner has often obscured the impact of your ever-present involvement with the association these 7 years. We thank you for your quiet contributions, your steady commitment, and rich legacy of advocacy and service, which will continue to inform and enhance our work for several years to come. In recognition of your outstanding service to the association, I am very pleased to present to you this letter of commendation. Congratulations, Kevin. And our next recipient is Pam LAZAROSKI, principal of Lewis Mills High School in Burlington.
My former
Come right over.
I know. My former partner. Congratulations. You have to stand up here. This is a long time.
All right. Pam, though you joined the association just 6 years ago, you swiftly emerged as one of our strongest leaders, both among the high school membership as well as within the association as a whole. Since 2014, you have served concurrently on 3 prominent association boards. Your appointment to those boards was a reflection of the high regard in which you are held by the leadership, and your unflinching acceptance of those appointments was a reflection of the generosity with which you commit yourself to colleagues and to your profession. As a member of the CAS Board of Directors, you have been one of our most loyal and conscientious members, a skilled listener with an open mind and a big heart. Your first instinct is always to embrace policies and practices that have direct and positive outcomes for children, despite the additional work that might accompany their implementation. Those of us who have sat around a meeting table with you have been the grateful beneficiaries of your positive attitude, your hard work, and your ever-present goodwill. In recognition of your outstanding service to the association, we are pleased to present you with this letter of commendation. Congratulations. And next, Dan Scavone, Athletic Director, Berlin High School. Dan, 2016 marks your 10th consecutive year of involvement in the work of CIAC. During that time, you have volunteered countless hours, attended innumerable meetings and events, hosted hundreds of tournament games, and logged thousands of miles in service to this association, all without any expectation of gratitude or personal benefit. Ever evident are your love for high school sports and your respect for the people who work with them to make them better. A member of 4 CAAC committees as well as the Board of Control, you rarely, if ever, miss a meeting and always arrive at our offices with a cheerful demeanor and a sincerity of purpose. Your actions and opinions always encourage the highest standards of sportsmanship and ethical conduct and reflect a global view of athletics as but one factor in the overall education of our students. You are, at your very core, a principled man who never cowers in the face of a challenge or remains silent on an issue, even when doing so might create conflict or controversy. Your cumulative contributions to high school athletics through your work with the CIAC, CAD, and the State's Official Association are impossible to quantify and demonstrate the highest standards of professionalism and commitment. In recognition of your outstanding service to the association, we are pleased to present you with this letter of commendation. Congratulations. Congratulations to all 4 of our letter of commendation recipients. I am now pleased to carry out the task of presenting this year's citations. The CAS citation is the association's highest honor, and the 2 individuals who were selected to receive it are immensely deserving. Together, they have combined for a total of 55 years of service to the association. Let me begin with Paul Cavaliere Jr., principal of Sage Park Middle School in Windsor. Paul, please join us. All right, Paul. Your history of service to the association can be described as no less than epic. At the close of this school year, you will complete a record of 4 tours of duty on the middle level board. That is 2 more than any prior member in CAS's rich history. You served as the board chair in the late 90s when the association made its historic move to involve teachers in the organization. Your leadership proved critical in paving the way for the Center of Early Adolescent Educators and reshaping the middle level division to meet the diverse and challenging needs of its expanded membership. A UCAP mentor for the past 10 years, you have inspired and supported many educators as they move into the ranks of school administration. A skilled and superior trainer, you ensure that your mentees are exposed to and immersed in actual leadership roles that will sufficiently prepare them for the challenges they face in their future positions. You have brought to this association the same drive for excellence and inexhaustible energy that have distinguished you in your career as an award-winning middle-level administrator. A former middle school principal of the year, you have achieved almost every recognition and distinction that CAS offers, including garnering Middle School of the Year honors for 2 different schools at which you served as principal. You have made your mark as one of the most loyal and influential middle-level leaders in the history of CAS. Your extensive knowledge of and background with the association have provided a critical continuity of purpose and tradition, yet you continue to look to the future needs of our members. Your visionary efforts in launching the new Young Men of Color Leadership Program are integral to CAS's goal of expanding our outreach to this critical population of students. In recognition of the excellence of your service, the Board of Directors, on the recommendation of the CAS Awards and Recognition Committee, is pleased to award you the accompanying citation, its highest honor. Congratulations, Paul. All right, and now if we could have Tom Moore, principal of Wethersfield High School, to come forward. All right. Tom, for nearly 3 decades, you have given unsparingly of your time and talents to further the work of both CAS and CIAC. Remarkably, while the demands of school administration have increased dramatically throughout the years, so too have your commitment to and involvement with the association. An authentic leader who likes to keep a low profile, you have maintained a quiet but commanding influence within our membership and accumulated a record of service that reflects a prodigious personal and professional investment in our work. There are few among us who have made such broad-based and enduring contributions. Your history with CAS-CIAC dates back to 1987, when you joined us as a member of the CIAC Football Committee. Since that time, you have served in a myriad of roles, the most impactful of which has been as a member of and chair of the Eligibility Review Board. Your ability to analyze issues and your skill in working with others to create consensus have been indispensable in carrying out the duties of this challenging board. Your 9-year tenure as chair, a demanding and potentially prickly role, has been all but drama-free thanks to your calm presence, your careful preparation, and your unflappable leadership. In 2000, you were handpicked to represent CAS on the NEASC Commission on Public Secondary Schools. Your performance was so exemplary that you were asked to serve as chair of that body in 2007 and subsequently earned a number of honors and distinctions before your term expired in 2009. You have been, and continue to be, a venerated member of our professional community. Your knowledge of current educational issues and your grasp of the complexities of the work of the modern-day principal have furthered our mission of developing the skills and effectiveness of Connecticut's school leaders. The association and its members are the grateful beneficiaries of your efforts and your expertise. In recognition of the excellence of your service, the Board of Directors, on the recommendation of the CAS Awards and Recognition Committee, is pleased to award you this citation, its highest honor. Congratulations, Tom. And that concludes the individual award presentations today. I'm going to ask incoming President Rosie Wojcik to please come to the podium for one final order of business. Rosie?
Great, thank you, Paul. And congratulations to all of our winners, very well deserving. And I, in turn, would like to ask Donna Schilke to return to the podium. Cool. So Donna, it's my honor and pleasure to present you with this gavel and the commemorate. I'll start over. Donna, it's my honor and pleasure to present you with this gavel to commemorate the end of your 2-year term as our president. It's hard to believe that your term is up. I'm sure you're thinking that too, because 2 years goes by really fast.
Very quickly.
As we look back over the past 2 years, we see a leader who has consistently acted with diplomacy and discretion, skillfully promoting the needs of the association and its members while remaining sensitive to the state's ever-shifting political and educational landscape. Actually, and I have to stop here because I think it's more like an earthquake, moving and shaking and rocking and rolling. Sorry, that's my Oregon background, but if you've lived through an earthquake, you know what I'm talking about. But you were talking about the perfect storm, and I think it probably is a little bit of both. But Donna, through it all, you're unshakable, and I mean unshakable. That half-full glass perspective eased us through the growing pains of SEED, Common Core, teacher evaluation, and SBAC. You continue to inspire us with your compassion, your abundant goodwill, your deep affection for the professional colleagues, and, above all, the sincerity with which you undertake our mission of doing the best for Connecticut's children. We thank you for the many ways in which you have advanced the work of the association these past 2 years. You are truly going to be a hard act to follow.
I don't think so. Thank you.
So here,
Thank you very much.
thank you for everything. Oh,
I'm the color.
The rose.
That's right. Thank you, Donna, for everything. And that concludes our formal program today. I thank you all for taking time out of your busy spring schedules to be here with us. Please don't feel like you have to rush out. Stick around and enjoy the foods, the drink, and the friends, and have a great rest of the school year. Thank you all.